Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your general readings for January 11th through the 17th. We're going to be doing a couple of different spreads. First, we're going to do love, one for you, one for an energy you're dealing with. And then I'm going to do a separate one, which I will timestamp below, having to do with career/money. Doesn't only have to do with career, it could have to do with a lawsuit, anything else that's going on that would be indicative of something that would bring you money right now. I just want to mention a couple of things going on in the sky that's very relevant. I feel like Sag, I feel like there's a lot of change going on for you regarding something having to do with your work, where you live, having to do with money as well. It's sort of all sort of like wound together. We do have this Uranus stationing direct in Taurus on January 14th, and you are going to be feeling this in your sixth house. And the sixth house it's the house of health, mental, physical, and emotional, but it's also the house of work, your day-to-day work environment, who you work with and for, what you do, where you do it, all of that. So with this energy, whenever a planet stations direct, there's this bubbling up of energy, and Uranus is the energy of change. So there's going to be this bubbling up of this feeling like you want to make change, causing you to feel this like kind of like emerge from it, feeling this sort of like internal evolution. So that, but it's going to allow you to feel more clear about what needs addressing within this area for you, having to do with your work and just your day-to-day experience as well. You know, it's like sixth house is just your day-to-day experience, not only work, right? Not only your health, it's your day-to-day experience. Now it's going to be conjunct Mars and Taurus, which is really going to light a fire under your feet to make some change. It's going to be working with a sextile to Neptune and Pisces, which can ultimately end up bringing confusion, though, as to how to exactly make that change happen. Now, that Neptune and Pisces energy, you're going to be feeling it the most strongly in your fourth house of home. Your neighborhood, right? Fourth house is sort of your home, where you live, who you live with, your metaphorical home space, how grounded, rooted, and safe and secure do you feel. Could be something going on with your parents as well. But we have that energy, right? So that's that Neptune and Pisces energy. Now, good thing here is this sextile can actually feel sort of nice when you're thinking about maybe starting some sort of business, working from home. You're feeling sort of very dreamy and in your feels about that. This could have to do with you really sort of dreaming about some sort of new change having to do with the workspace. With your home space, having to do with either where you live, who you work with or for, anything like that. Like a beautiful time of sort of dreaming about how these two energies can come together, your work and your home life, that kind of thing, right? Because the sextile is a nice, beautiful energy. Even though it's Neptune and Pisces, you might not be seeing everything completely clearly. Now, the undercurrent of this change, though, is coming from this square to Jupiter, Saturn, and Mercury in Aquarius. It's going to be pushing you to problem solve and figure out a certain situation having to do with the third house energy. So the third house is your neighborhood, it's communication, it's your siblings. This is where you guys have the great conjunction, right? That third house. It's also the house of where we learn things, right? So you're going to be in the space of learning something new, needing to communicate differently, and the mix of energies here can end up like bringing about this sense of aggression and defensiveness. And because it's in your third house of communication, just be careful that you don't like lose your stuff with anybody having to do with in any part of your life, honestly, because it's where the grand conjunction is hanging out. Now there is going to be this trine of the Uranus and Mars conjunction to Pluto conjunct the Sun in Capricorn, all of that energy to this, and that's going to put a focus on what needs to be something that needs to be ended or transformed. For you, it's in your second house of money, of things you value, of also how you feel about yourself. Now, Venus is going to be very nicely aspected here to help support the change, but this new moon in Capricorn hitting on the 12th into the 13th, depending on where you live, is going to be affecting you in your second house, and this can incite new beginnings in career, in your sense of discipline, in new plans that you have on tap. This can also end up impacting feelings regarding marriage and home and parents, or feeling a strong resolve to establish safety in your life right now. Just because Capricorn, that 10th house, does work with Cancer, that 4th house energy. They sort of work together, and that's where the new moon is. The sun's going to be hanging out in that Cancer energy, right? Shining the moon. So it's like this the light's going to be shining, across the wheel onto Capricorn, onto these ideas that have to do with anything 10th house related. And marriage is a 10th house energy. You know, it is. It has to do with the institution of marriage, as well as career and public reputation and your standing in the world. So you have those things working into conjunction with the house of your value system, right? Things that matter to you. So we have the Phoenix rising as the crowning energy having to do with your relationship. Okay, so this is going to be the first pull for you, whatever you're going on with, whoever you are dealing with. So I'm going to pull a past, a present, the block challenge situation, and the final outcome. Just such that cards feel like. Okay. I'm going to pull some chakra tarot to clarify these. Phoenix rising is all about rising up from the ashes and transforming yourself into something new and beautiful. It's something needs to end, though, in order for this to exist, right? It's kind of like the death energy. It's Scorpio, it's transformation, it's all of that. Now, in the recent past, we have the Strength card, which is really great because this is about self-love, unconditional love, self-respect, courage. Strength is a Leo energy. It has to do with that fifth house of falling in love, of romance, for sure. So some of you may be getting over a past heartbreak and you're meeting somebody new in the Strength energy. Let's pull some cards and see what we have. Okay, so this is interesting because I feel like there are two energies here in this brief little spread. As we have an Ace of Wands, an Ace of Wands can indicate, you know, a new passion, somebody new that you're very attracted to, that you're meeting, and you're feeling very motivated to move forward. For some of you, those of you who are single, are going to be resonating with this. But I feel like you're still hurting over somebody else from the past because we have the Five of Cups. Five of Cups is feeling the sense of loss and regret and feeling abandoned, feeling unloved. Even though you have this new connection here, you're still feeling this way from somebody in your past, it does seem like. But that's being clarified by this Knight of Wands energy. So, you know, maybe you were dealing with somebody who was a bit of a player energy, very kind of less seen, free-spirited, wanted to go out and do their own thing, you know, had a hard time with the tradition or convention of relationship in the way that you wanted them to have it. Now, that could resonate with some of you. For others of you, this could be you really focusing on being really brave and just facing something super head on and feeling a very strong sense of resolve with the Ace of Wands to have a new beginning for yourself, to have very, very strong resolve here, even though you are still focused on this feeling of abandonment, just feeling grief, feeling sadness over something not working out. You're actually not allowing it to take you down. You're just not allowing yourself to lay down to it. You're not allowing it. And you're pushing yourself. You're tapping into your creativity. You're tapping into everything that's inside of you to actually move forward in a certain way. Doing it scared, as they say. We're doing it with a little bit of resistance. Even though you don't feel totally comfortable, you're doing it anyway. And for some of you, that can definitely be what it is that you're dealing with. Now, we have the Three of Air right now, currently. It's the Three of Swords. So some of you, this is heartbreak, divorce, loss, depression. If you're resonating with this reading, Sagittarius, so far, you have gone through something quite painful in relationship. There's no question here. Three of Swords. So, the Three of Air also, it can have to be a third-party situation. It doesn't have to be, as I always say, there are many ways that we can hurt each other. Financial, financial irresponsibility, throwing you under the bus, having to do with some sort of friend or family situation, having allegiance to somebody else over you, any kind of thing like that. So we have in the current situation, we do have the Eight of Coins working with the High Priestess and the Ace of Coins. So, for a lot of you, I do feel like you're just focusing on your work, throwing yourself into what you have to do, enjoying other outlets for yourself. Others of you are caught up in this space where you're trying to figure out, how can you have a relationship that you really enjoy, that you feel comfortable in? Because Pentacles also means mental, physical, and emotional connection. And 8 is the number of mastery. So many of you can be in this space of figuring this out. But inside yourself, right, we have the High Priestess energy. This is happening. It's a moon energy as well, right? High Priestess is associated with the moon. So this is about being rather secretive, keeping under wraps what it is that you're thinking. feeling rather. Trust yourself, right? Because it's moon, it's feeling. And then we have the Ace of Coins. Ace is brand new, right? So some of you may be throwing yourself into some sort of new opportunity, some sort of new investment, new situation having to do with actual money. It doesn't have to do with money. It has to do with mental, physical, emotional connection. This is you making a new connection in love, okay? Even though you're dealing with this element of heartbreak. There is this idea of heartbreak. But, you know, I just feel such this strong sense of resolve from you that you just don't want to let this energy take you down. You just don't want to do it. You just don't. But the block here, look, the block is 8 of Cups, right? So you're having a hard time with this, okay. So that's okay. That's all right. You know, Sagittarius, you know, if you're resonating with this, and this is your experience right now, you're having a very hard time moving on from something. You are. Cut yourself a break. Understand that we're not robots, and these things happen in layers, right? And I know you guys all know that, but sometimes it's helpful to be reminded of it, that when we are in a relationship and we build these emotions, they build in layers. So when it's over, we have to release them in layers. So the idea of just get over it, or the idea of you just ending something and you being totally over them like overnight, no, that's hiding, that's suppression of reality, right? I mean, it just is. So these things end up sloughing off, and sometimes we have to meet new people, and they help to expedite the sloughing off kind of thing, you know, over time. You know, but you just might not be ready right now. You just might not be. That's all right. That's all right. It's part of the human condition. Don't beat yourself up. We got the world. This is your block. What is the world? Lesson learned. This is your block. You haven't learned the lesson. Some sort of unfinished lesson here. The block is that you are very, very deep in some sort of pain from heartbreak, a divorce, some sort of loss. You may be experiencing a significant amount of depression right now because of this circumstance. It's kind of getting in your way. It's inhibiting you from being able to take the bull by the horns in the way that you ultimately want, and in the way that you know you feel like anyway you should be, whatever that means, right? There's no actual rule book or handbook on how to handle these things. But another block for you and another challenge is this idea of justice, and it's the truth coming out, and there being this win-win solution where there's fairness. Fairness is a challenge for you right now. So I still feel that you're very stuck in this other energy. It sort of has to be like chiseled away a little bit, you know. The final outcome we have here is the 5 of Water. So, yeah. I mean, there's a loss, regret feeling. This element of abandonment. Okay, so let's pull some cards on that. Swords. Alright, so we have the Ace of Swords. Feeling this element of abandonment. But then you're having clarity here. With that clarity comes the 8 of Wands, which is very positive energy. This is about news coming in, that's incites speedy action, speedy change. So if you guys are not in communication with this person, this does indicate that they would be communicating with you, or there's going to be some sort of communication. Working with the 6 of Cups energy, which is one of the reunion energies, it doesn't mean you have to get back with them. But it does mean that the energy is going to be available to you if you want to engage in it, because there's going to be some nostalgia experienced here, and this is being faced with the choice of whether you should revisit something or not. So it does seem, for those of you who are in a space of really wanting that, I see that you're in a deep space of pain. There is there's unfinished stuff here. But I do see that there's going to end up, it does look like there's going to be ultimately communication here, and there is going to be at least this discussion of reconciliation. Now, what ends up happening from there, who knows? But, you know, it's going to be different for each of you. But that's what I see happening. Now, what I'm hoping for many of you, right, is, well, let me just pull a final card before I even say what it is. Yeah, I like this. This is what I was going to say before I wanted to pull a card on myself to say, we got the 2 of Cups here. Because with this Phoenix rising could mean that whatever was finished, whatever was over, whatever didn't work before, you guys could figure it out, right? You guys as a couple can be the Phoenix rising, this sort of rising from the ashes to be rebirthed, right? And transformed. And with the Two of Cups energy, this is all about a proposal being made. So it doesn't necessarily mean a marriage proposal, though it can be, but it's a proposal of an idea of something that needs to be explored, how you guys can fix it. Whatever that means to you, whether it's getting married, moving in together, having the baby, whatever it is, there's got to be this element of this proposal being put forth, I feel like, is going to be happening in this Eight of Wands energy that incites this reconnection. So that is what I see. I mean, I think that's, that's a very clear message. So, I think that's good, if that's what you're looking for, right? Yeah. Okay, let's see what's going on with them. Okay, let's pull a crowning for them first. So this is going to be a subjective read for whoever Sagittarius is dealing with. Whoops. Subjective read. That means from their energetic perspective, how they're experiencing the relationship, what they might be feeling, what they might be going through. Sexual arts, what? So some of you are going to be like, oh, of course, What is the sexual arts, though? The sexual arts actually means completely embracing themselves, completely embracing you, understanding intimacy, what intimacy means, that not that it's just like wham bam thank you ma'am kind of thing. It's not about that. It's about connection. It's about the art of it. It's about connecting emotionally, connecting mentally, there being this process to being the best experience possible, that it's not just about the act, but there are so many other things involved in it. So important for them, for some reason, to really tap in and understand that in order for there to be a really solid and beautiful experience, there's got to be feelings of safety, there has to be openness, there has to be complete acceptance felt. There's got to be a level of willingness as well to open up oneself to be that level of vulnerable and to not just go through the motions or the actions of something, to not treat it flippantly, Okay. That almost took me back because I hardly ever get that card. It's very funny how often I use the deck. That certain cards just don't circle around as often energetically. It's people's energy. So I pay attention when it comes out. Definitely. Alrighty. So let's see what's happening with them. We have Page of Earth. To get going, Page means a new cycle. Earth, when we're talking about relationship reads, means mental, physical, emotional connection. It could be that your partner in the recent past started a new job that ended up impacting the relationship somehow. But, by itself, it does mean a new cycle within this connection. Let me pull all the cards here. So the Page of Earth can also mean meeting somebody new. They could have met somebody new at work as well, or through whatever work it is that they do. That could be the situation. I want to give as many, I want to be very realistic about the different interpretations that it could mean. Now we have this idea of the Queen of Pentacles. Now whenever we get a Queen energy, it's always about connection. And when we're talking about, again, the Pentacles, it's about connecting mentally, physically, emotionally. So them definitely connecting with either somebody new or wanting to connect with you in a new way, but them being in a space of self-protection. Now, they can be struggling with some sort of greed, but I always like this. The greed could be mental, physical, emotional connection, which would be self-protection as well, or it could actually be with their money, too. In the recent past, we have another page here. We have two pages here. We have a Page of Earth, which is Page of Pentacles, and we have another Page of Pentacles here. So there's definitely some sort of new cycle here. in the recent past, either they wanted to incite with you. No, I feel like they met somebody else. I feel like there's some sort of other energy involved here. I feel like this person is very focused on their own protection and what's right for them. In the past, in the recent past, I'm saying. Very focused on what's good for them. Very focused on what's good for them. Let's see where they are right now. So right now we have the Six of Fire. Six of Fire is a really good energy. It's about victory, award recognition, good news coming in. Some sort of message comes in right now that's very positive, that's very good. Okay, for them, from their perspective. This is a Ten of Cups energy. This is about total love and support. Feeling like, yeah, this is their person, but I can't ignore the fact that it's followed by the Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles is about this poverty mindset, this worry. But when I say poverty mindset with the Pentacle energy, it's like feeling mentally, emotionally, and physically like disconnected. I mean, and this has to do with you. So it's like this communication coming in that makes them feel like this Ten of Cups energy, which is about total love, total support. But yet, what are they feeling? They're feeling this sense of isolation, this lack of connectedness. They're feeling this lack of connectedness. And then with the page, with the Nine of Pentacles, I feel like they're very focused on themselves. They're very focused on what they need. This is like a very solo energy, right? Focus on their solo pleasures, being self-sufficient. Focus on their own financial gains. So this is very interesting because I feel like this, Sagittarius, I'm sorry, but I feel like this person is rather selfish. Because with the Six of Fire, it's like they have all the success that they need, you know, to work out this relationship. There is this total love and support, but yet there's this, from their perspective, they feel this sense of lack. And because of that, they're very focused on themselves. Now, whether this is because they're creating some sort of false narrative in their head, I mean, it's kind of besides the point, but let's look at what their block. Okay, yeah, they're having a hard time deciding because we have the Two of Earth is two choices and needing to weigh options here. This is a block for them. And we have the Two of Wands needing to make a choice. This is a block. But they're waiting for something. There's a waiting for the results of something, waiting to see how something rolls out, waiting to hear from getting that phone call. Waiting, there's a waiting here for a result before making a decision, or this need to make a decision, and this is their block. Because the block here is this change, this ending, knowing it's time to move on, not being able to, knowing something needs to be birthed or transformed, not being able to, having a hard time with this ending and new beginning thing. It's definitely stressing them out. Nine of Swords, nightmares, anxiety, grief, depression, but they're confused. They're having a hard time making a decision. And I definitely feel another energy here. So I don't know if this is between either you and literally somebody else, or you and another path that they need to go on. Like maybe they got some sort of job offer where they need to leave and travel. Something like that. I want to come back to that, but let me read the final outcome here. We have the King of Fire. The King of Fire is really understanding what is necessary for there to be a lot of passion and sensuality, heat, fire, motivation, while also feeling very grounded, rooted, and safe and secure. It's this understanding of like, what does that even mean? That's because that's King of Wands energy. It's Cancer and Leo. Cancer is feeling grounded, rooted, and safe and secure, and Leo is a fire energy. It's a very me-based energy. It rules the act of sex. It's falling in love. It's romance. It's all of that. Well, how do we get all of that beautiful, heated energy and still feel safe and secure at the same time? Right? And that's where the King of Wands comes in. It's you know, having the courage to do that, having the wherewithal to do that. But it's about courage. because that does take courage. But there's going to be an argument here. I mean, and I always consider the Knight of Swords energy to be a bit of an air clearing kind of thing, because there's fast talking regarding truth, because it's swords. Swords are always conversation and it's truth. But the Knight is a messenger. And we're talking about when he's delivering swords, there's going to be some sort of aggression. There's going to be some sort of aggressive falling out having to do with the truth of a situation that incites a change in the dynamic of the relationship. So good, bad, or not, whatever it is, there's going to be a change. It can't keep going the way it is. Right, but what truth is going to be served up here? We have this Eight of Swords energy, and the Eight of Swords is this idea of not feeling like they belong. Right? Like it's not, in their mind, it's not speaking to what it is that they want to move forward in, and but it's self-imposed. This is all self-imposed imprisonment, self-imposed isolation, self-imposed. But yet we have the Nine of Wands energy, which is about, this is confusing, because this is about keeping and maintaining boundaries and being very persistent and still wanting to work at something. And why do I say it's confusing? The cards are not confusing to me, but I feel like this is confusing for you. I think this is super confusing for you, because I feel like this is a person who wants to be with you, but feels like something's off, but they're also not looking at their role in this. And I feel like they're telling themselves a little bit of a false narrative as far as their role in all of this. And they're trying to put things on you that maybe should be put on you, but not all of it should be put on you. And there's this lack of healthy communication. And there's this feel and this need to feel this other connection. Because I want you to understand the sexual arts, it means a lot more than just the act of sex. It's intimacy as well, and all that means. And what does that mean to actually show up in relationship? It's very sort of like 5th house, 8th house energy as well. Because 8th house has to do with intimacy, how we show up as a we in relationship, how we show up as being able to share and be comfortable with who we are in our most raw and most authentic and most vulnerable state. You know, being able to show up like that. Because that's part of the art of real, beautiful, deep, and meaningful sex. That's where the art part comes in, right? But there's something about them that's not, they don't allow themselves to, it's like they go through the motions and they go through whatever, but they're not being completely living in their own personal integrity. They're not. And it's getting in their way. And they feel, it's like they're chasing a cloud. But they don't even realize it. They're feeling like they don't belong in something with you, but it could be that you're the most authentic mirror that they need. So we might be even dealing with some sort of karmic situation here. But it's like something about you makes them feel very uncomfortable, but yet they're very drawn to you. But yet it's like they're thinking about going elsewhere, but yet they feel like they don't belong, but they don't want to give you up. But. Oh my gosh. I hope I didn't confuse you. Ugh. All right. My goodness. Okay. Well, that's that. That is what we have just for the 11th through the 17th. The 11th through the 17th, Sagittarius. Hopefully we'll get different messages next week. We'll see what happens. But for now, let's move on to career/money. And this could be the money that you make from the work that you do, or it could be the money that you have from your partner, or from investment, a legal payout, inheritance, anything in the stock market, any sort of, selling a home, buying a home even, getting a mortgage, getting a loan to do something in your business, anything. Like that. Let's get a crowning energy for that. Flexible. Time to be flexible. Comes to something in this area for you. You need to be flexible. So we're going to use the good old Rider-Waite. Let's see what we get for the past, present. So it just means being open-minded, being able to strategize, being able to compromise. Okay. Let's see what we got. So this can also have to do with like a divorce settlement, child support. Again, anything having to do with money. So you might have a little bit of a challenge being being flexible. It does seem like, because in your challenge, like leaving something the way it is, you might be it's so fascinating to me. I don't know why. I keep getting two. It's either Two of Cups or Two of Wands in this starting position, having to do with the recent past, with like for almost, I think you guys are my 7th, 8th, 9th sign, I think. It's just very interesting. So you'll notice that if you watch your other signs. So we have, in the recent past, coming into this energy, the Two of Wands, which means either waiting for the results on something or being in a space of needing to make a choice about something. Now, this could have to do with a marriage. So this could have to do with either deciding to leave a marriage, having, and just thinking about how it might impact your finances. You might be in this space, the Two of Wands, of waiting to hear back about a negotiation having to do with that. But because Hierophant is one of the marriage cards, but it's also about expectations and conformity. So it could equally so have to do with anything having to do with an inheritance, retirement, any sort of like the way something should process out, taxes, anything like that. But the Hierophant is a marriage card, so it could certainly have to do with that. Now we have the Nine of Pentacles. So the Nine of Pentacles is being very self-sufficient. This is about financial gains, solo pleasures, having enough money left over to do a little something that you like. So I do see this being a big focus for you. But there's got to be this decision, right? We have the Lover's energy, which means it's a decision energy. Lovers always means that. So it means realizing that something may not be perfect, but there's got to be flexibility here. Understanding that it doesn't necessarily mean with a romantic partner. This could just be you and a situation, or this could be just you reasoning something out within yourself, because this is the card, the energy of Gemini, which is the twins. So you could be reasoning things out within yourself, but understanding that the bottom line here, what's important to understand is whatever you're dealing with, whatever financial situation you're dealing with isn't perfect. But it's got there. If there is a meeting of the minds, you're going to have the blessing of Archangel Raphael to expedite it and make it happen. So I feel like that's where the flexibility comes in. Even though you're very focused on, wanting to get what you need plus a little extra, which, hey, why not? But there has to be this flexibility in how something is approached. Right now, the current situation is starting off with the Four of Cups energy. So you're feeling very unfulfilled about some sort of situation here. So you could feel very unfulfilled in work. You could feel very apathetic about this particular job that you're doing. You could feel very just sort of in this space where you have this checklist, right? And it's like, well, this agreement can't work because of this, this, and this. And it's never going to work because of that, that, and that kind of thing. And you want to watch out to see where you might not be holding too fast to something, where, you want to make sure that your agenda is like fair and square in that right energy. Only because the Four of Cups is a little bit of an immature energy, in that it can place a lot of blame on the other, rather than looking at one's role in a situation and why somebody might be acting the way that they are, right? So you want to make sure that you're being really honest with yourself about everything having to do with money, whatever situation is going on right here. And guys, don't beat yourself up if you're in this sort of like, well, I want it the way I want it kind of thing, especially if it has to do with divorce. Cut yourself a break. That's normal. It's totally normal. Or anything like even with the sale of a house. You want the money that you want. Whatever deal you're working out, you want what you want. And you just have to make sure, though, that what you're looking for is doable within the situation. Okay, straight up, some of you may be like, nope, it's not working. I gotta go. This is about action and change. And the Chariot in astrology is connected to Cancer, which is about home. So this can literally be, having to do with the sale of a home, something to do with the home. If you're getting divorced, you're settling up, squaring away things surrounding the idea of home, people living in the home, right? If it has to do with children. But it's leaving something that's toxic, that's not working. It's you saying like, nope, this is not working for me. Nope, nope, nope. And then we have the Six of Cups. So there's this visiting back to something from the past. For some of you, this is going to be realizing that the job that you were doing is not working anymore for you and you want to return to something that you used to do. Either a literal job that you used to do, an idea that you had, you want to revisit it, you want to reconnect with people that you used to maybe go to school with, reach out and network to, with people in your past that might be able to incite some change here. From some of you, this could be like, a lawyer, you're fired. I'm going back to my old lawyer, right? It can literally be that. But something about going back to the past. Going back to the past, but feeling we have the Five of Pentacles here, which is about, again, this poverty, feeling very restricted financially, feeling very worried, feeling very isolated, experiencing the sense of loss, feeling this definite sense of loss here. Okay, so let's look at what the block is here. So the block here is you feeling like you need to defend yourself because you're going to be in a space of self-defense. You're going to feel like you need to protect against the competition, and I just feel like communication is just going to be super challenging for you right now, but there is definitely something that either needs to be ended or transformed, especially with this new moon, in Capricorn. It just does. But the block is going to be in figuring that out, right? Because the Four of Swords energy is exactly that. It's Jupiter in Libra. Jupiter expands whatever it's in, and Jupiter is very much about, moving forward, expanding, right? Expanding something to a benefit, right? Taking a chance on something and having it go well. And Libra is about partnership. So any sort of legal situation, any sort of legal connection, whether it's that you work for a place, you're a business partner with somebody, that seventh house is not only about marriage, it's about business partnerships and people that we do business with. And you may not even be super sure about what that actually means for you right now. You're not able to see the fairness in it. In the moment, it's only the 11th through the 17th. Challenge, starting this new phase of your life. Seven of Pentacles is a really good energy, actually. For the world, Three of the Trinity, it's where heaven and earth meet. And when it's in a pentacle energy, it's about a new page turning and things that matter to you of value having to do with your money. But this is about delayed success and waiting, and this is your block. You don't want to wait anymore. You're that fire energy. You want to just go in and do. You can't understand why people can't see things more clearly, because to you something looks super clear. But the block here though is you walking away from something, because this energy is all about withdrawing, retreating, and moving on and abandoning something, right? But the block here is that you're having a hard time actually doing that. You're having a hard time retreating from something, giving in. So this is again where we have to be a little flexible here. Now the final outcome energy, the first card leading up, is some anxiety and depression and some ruminating thoughts. With the Nine of Swords, it's trying to figure out what the right thing is for you with its Mars and Gemini energy. And then we have, clarifying that, we have the Queen of Pentacles. So remember, the Queen is a connector. Pentacles is all about resources and being able to grow and move forward in something, right? It really is about that. So feeling very I feel like you're going to be in this position where you're going to need to be figuring out between what's being offered to you and versus what it is that you need. And you're just going to kind of be in this space of, you're not sure. Now, you're going to be getting some good news in, right? We have the Eight of Wands. This is very good news coming in. And it ends up inciting change. We're talking about lots of text messages, emails, phone calls, almost like a frenetic kind of energy. Whatever news is coming in is really prompting change. But it's also indicating that there is a quick response that's going to be necessary to something. But you're just going to be in the space of saying, I don't know. Because you're in this space of self-imposed isolation and kind of getting caught up in the minutia of something. Rightfully so, probably. But this is like feeling like I'm just not sure. Let me pull another one. We have King of Pentacles and we have the Emperor. Okay, good. So the King of Pentacles, very solid energy, practical, wise. So this does seem like a good thing. We have the Emperor, and what this tells me, whatever is being offered is actually authentic. Somebody is being very honest and true in what it is that can be possible here. Now, some of you are going to be in a space of being motivated to start your own business. Others of you are going to be offered something by somebody who is actually very authentic. They have integrity. So whatever is being offered here, whatever is being considered about moving forward, it looks like a good thing. But you are going to have to adapt some sort of flexibility within this situation. Sag, it does seem like. That is what I have for you, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.